You know, I really don't know what to say. This has probably been one of the best reading months I've ever had. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always guys, I'm Andrew, and today I've got my monthly wrap-up here for you, but before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe so you can get regular updates for when I drop new content, because, you know, I do it twice a week. That said guys, like I said in the intro, this is probably one of the best reading months I've ever had in terms of just ratings. Like, I enjoyed almost everything. I had like a single DNF, and then everything else was like a 3.5 and above. So, like, I didn't have anything that, like, I was super, like, disappointed with and stuff like that. And so, the one DNF I had is it's a new release. It was In the Shadow of Lightning by Brian McClellan. And guys, like, I read the Powder Mage and the Of Gods and Powder trilogies by Brian McClellan, and I loved them both. Of Gods and Powder, of course, more than the Powder Mage, just because Of Gods and Powder is, mwah, chef's kiss, so good. And totally worth checking out. But, yeah, In the Shadow of Lightning, like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the move from Orbit to Tor, or, like, if there was some, like, publisher interference, or if he tried to, like, you know, make a hard magic system seem like a soft magic system. Something there didn't working. I had character issues. I had pacing issues. This one, overall, was a huge miss for me, and it makes me really upset, because this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. So I'm very sad to have not liked this book, and I will probably not continue this series. And then my other lowest rated book of the month. Some people are going to probably flip some tables at me. Giving a 3.5 out of 5, rounded up to a 4 on Goodreads. We've got Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. And hear me out. Like, hear me out. I think that this one needed an additional book. Unlike Rainwild's, which did not need 4 books. I enjoyed, overall, the Fitz and the Fool books, but I still do not think it was a better ending than Tawny Man. And for a few reasons. I feel like we answered too many questions within the realm of the Elderlings, if that makes any sense. Like, literally nothing is left mysterious anymore. And if it isn't left, like, and if it is, I should say, left mysterious, it's something I don't really, it's something innocuous or something I don't really care about, or it's just something that's Robin Hobb, the author, has chosen not to explain. I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5 just because I feel like the main focus here is the character work, which Robin Hobb does very well. But when it came to the story elements, I just don't think the attention to detail was quite there. I could, you know, reread this later down the road and completely change my rating. And, you know, who knows? There could be some deeper themes in here that I'm just not grasping. But overall, I gave Fool's Fate. That's my preferred ending to the Realm of the Elderlings instead of Fitz and the Fool. But, you know, I did enjoy learning about Fitz and what he's been up to, and, you know, it is what it is. Like, not everything's going to work for everybody. I know a lot of people love and say that this is, like, the best ending of any series, and for me, that was actually Tawny Man back then. This is still probably my second favorite series of all time, so, I mean, take all my critiques here with a little bit of a grain of salt. So that was my lowest rated. Let's get into the 4 stars, and I have a lot of 4 stars. I did not count them up. I ended up trying on audio a short story of the Bizarre Blades. I think this is by, like, Stephen Collier is the name of this author. And it's Finn Featherstone. It's like a 0.5, you know, short story. And really I tried this because it was narrated by Kevin Kemp, and he mentioned it in a live show. And I wanted to try out his narration style because, you know, I'm going to be listening to one of his books in the following months, and then I'm also going to be re-listening to A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah when he does that, because I got a little sample of that, and that sounds amazing! So I tried this out. It was very interesting. Like, it's a short story, so I can't, like, go deep into what the Bizarre Blades are. It was just an interesting concept. I like the character work. I like the ideas there, so I give that 4 stars. A solid first taste of an author and a narrator. I then did my reread of Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. And this was a 5-star before this month. It's now a 4-star read. Mainly because there's just a lot of Nynaeve in here. And on audio, Nynaeve just tends to rub me the wrong way. So yeah, we gave that 4 stars. I still really overall enjoyed it, but it just didn't quite hit the way I remembered it. But nostalgia is just a hell of a drug. We then did Philip C. Quantrell's Rise of the Ranger, Book 1 in the Echoes Saga. This one was a lot of fun. A lot of classic tropes here presented in fresh and invigorating ways. You got dragons, you've got elves, you've got assassins, you've just got battles, you've got prejudices, just all sorts of just really cool concepts here that really kind of wet the whistle and make me excited to read the next 8 books, because this is a 9-book saga broken up into like arcs and things of that nature. All right, and then continuing on with our 4-star books, we've got We Are Legion, We Are Bob. This is the first Bobiverse book and a booktube darling. This was my patron pick this month. One of my patrons selected this one for me to read. And I really enjoyed this one. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of science in here. It gave me a lot of Children of Time vibes. However, it's got more like humor and pop culture references, modern day, kind of forced in there. The reason this one gets 4 stars, though, is mainly because it just kind of ends. Like, we reach the end of an objective, and it's like, cool, and it ends. So this one kind of feels like part 1 of book 1, almost. And so it didn't have that kind of satisfying ending to me. It's just like, and we're done. And so I was just like, okay, fine. I see what you're doing here. I've got the rest of the books, so I enjoyed this experience. I'll continue it, but this does not feel like a fully fleshed out book with a solid, satisfying ending. And so for that reason, we're going to kind of dock it 1 star. But it's still not bad. Next up, we have got The Dark Tower, Book 5, Wolves of the Kala. We are back with the Quartet. And guys, like, I went in with almost no expectations to low expectations, because this is kind of like everyone's least favorite, or one of their least favorites of The Dark Tower. It's kind of like the beginning of the end, or where, like, he was putting it out real quick because of his car accident, things of that nature. And I was like, okay, so, I don't know what to expect here. I was told I had to read Salem's Lot, which we'll talk about in a minute, before I got to this one, because this one spoils Salem's Lot. And the reason people don't like this one is because there's a character in here who just rambles on about his life story for a good 200 pages. And that's fine with me, because I actually enjoyed learning about his life story. I thought that Stephen King writes slice of life in a way that I very much find enjoyable. And so this one didn't bother me as much. I enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed learning about the wolves. I enjoyed the, ever-deepening relationship between Susanna, Jake, Eddie, and Roland. And so, yeah, no, this one hit for me. So I'm very excited, because I was not the biggest fan of Wizard and Glass or Win Through the Keyhole. So it's good to, like, chalk one up to a win to The Dark Tower. And so, yeah, I'm back in. I just really enjoy Stephen King's writing quite a bit, which is why I've been reading, like, 1 or 2 of his books per month, because, these things happen. I think my last 4-star, this is my last 4-star. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see, because I did some digital reads as well. But no, I think this is my last 4-star. I don't know why I'm rambling to you guys. We've got Crown of Madness by Ryan G. Beatty. This is a self-pub Spiffbo 8 entry, and the author was very kind enough to send this one to me. This one has heavy Witcher vibes. I'm not going to go too deep into this one, other than to tell you it was 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I do have a dedicated video review recorded and coming out here soon. This is just, imagine The Witcher that you played in the video games that you didn't get in the books. And so that's kind of what this is. A lot of monster hunting and just a lot of cool stuff in here. I'm very excited, because the author has already told me his 2nd book is getting ready to come out, and by his words, is 1,000 times better. All right, now let's start talking 5-star reads. Starting off with Of Honey and Wildfires by Sarah Shorn. And guys, like, this one blew my mind. I loved this book. It's a fantasy western. It's got LGBTQ vibes in it. I've actually read quite a fair bit of books with LGBTQ elements completely on accident this month. So that's kind of nice. But it's basically a fantasy western. It takes all those western elements and then puts just a small fantasy twist on it that just absolutely works. This book will break you. It is devastating, and it is so poignant and beautiful. I cannot wait to continue the series. This has kind of just exploded a love of the subgenre of fantasy western for me, and so I cannot wait to read more and more fantasy westerns. I've already bought like 9 or 10 more already, so yeah, I'm very excited. I then did Marota by L.L. McCrae, and I love this. I loved it so much. It took me about 12 days to read this one, but I ended up giving it 5 stars, mainly because the character work that is done here is we get like a ragtag band of characters whose personalities do not mesh at all, and they still have to work towards achieving a goal. It's got dragons, terrifying dragons. It's got like lycanthropes, shapeshifters. It's got airships. It was dope. It's got magical weapons. I really enjoyed this book. I'm going to be purchasing this entire series. And coming up here soon on the channel, I should be having an interview with L.L. McCrae as well. Next up, we have got The Legend of Blackjack by A.R. Witham. And guys, this one, I've also got an author interview coming up with this author as well. This was so good. It's a YA fantasy, but I don't necessarily agree with the YA rating. This is kind of like fantasy before the YA, whole subgenre was created. So, it's accessible to all ages, and it's got great coming of age. And this reminded me of, the Chronicles of Narnia, The Page Master, if anybody remembers that old Macaulay Culkin, Christopher Lloyd, animated movie. It reminds me a lot of that. It reminds me of just so many, nostalgic, great adventure stories with, the young protagonists, overcoming, the movie The Neverending Story reminds me of that one as well. This has kind of got, a whole portal thing going on. It was absolutely awesome. It was a lot of fun and pretty much a perfect palate cleanser. So, yes, I am going to be doing a dedicated book review for this one as well. And then if we're talking about authors that I'm going to be doing author interviews for, we've also got coming up T.A. Bruno and the Winds of Quasar, or On the Winds of Quasars. It helps if I get the book name correct. And this is a sequel to In the Orbit of Sirens. Again, another 5-star read. This entire trilogy so far is turning out to be one of my favorites. The evolution of the story from the Orbit of Sirens to here, we do a little bit of a time jump, and we're still following Denton and his entire family. But man, we start following Cade and Nella as well, which are their kids. There are higher stakes, and where this is leading to, I am not prepared. My soul is going to be shattered, but I think it's going to be good, guys. I am so excited. This interview should be happening in a couple months, I think. I want to be able to read the 3rd book first so that I've got the entire story, and then I'm going to be talking with the author, and I am so excited because I have been loving every second of the Chimeria cycle. Then we've got M.L. Spencer, shocker, the author of my book of the year last year, which was Dragon Mage, got a 5-star rating from me. This is Chains of Blood, and this is The Chaos Cycle, Book 1. Now, I did a slight faux pas here. I really enjoyed this one, and this one stands on well on its own. However, it is a sequel series to the Ren War saga, and I didn't realize it until I read the description of Ren War and realized, oh no, that character name sounds familiar. And so this kind of deals with a whole sins of the father trope. And I really like that characterization because, he doesn't really know who he is. He doesn't know who his father was, what his father has done. And so he's kind of coping with and dealing with all of this nonsense. And it is one hell of an emotional ride. So yes, I ended up giving that one 5 stars as well. We've then got my first manga on the channel, and that is Vinland Saga. This gorgeous hardcover. I need to collect more of these. They're kind of expensive. They're $20 a piece. I'll get them slowly. My library's got a few of these, so I'll be just kind of reading through these occasionally. As, the months go on, I should be doing some collabs with Maza from Maza Booktuber on this one. This was awesome. We've just got, this is Viking historical fiction manga, and I just really enjoyed this one. It was dope. So I can't wait to continue. Vinland Saga. Let's see. And then we've got probably, this might be my book of the month. And if you had asked me earlier, it was going to either be one of these 3 books. It was either going to be Legend of Blackjack for my book of the month. It was either going to be Nomads of the Sea, which we'll talk about in a second, or it was going to be Troy, Lord of the Silver Bow by David Gemmell. This was kind of his masterpiece, the last trilogy he wrote before his passing. In fact, he didn't even get to finish it. His wife actually finished the 3rd book for him because he died while in the middle of this one. And Lord of the Silver Bow was just, it's a historical fiction, and it blew my mind. The characterizations were so good. There's like just enough of fantastical element to like go, this could be like slightly fantasy, like maybe. And it was just, I read through this one in like, I think 36 hours. I freaking loved the entire experience of Lord of the Silver Bow. Now, my other book of the month, or possible book of the month, is Nomads of the Sea. And the reason I can't definitively say it's this one by Kobe Zucker, this is another Smith by Waite self-pub entry, is that I'm not done with it. I've got 30% left on this, and it's the 27th at the time of recording. So far, not a single page of this has been less than 5 stars. So I'm not really all that worried, and that's why I'm putting it as a preemptive 5-star read. This is a chunky, beefy book. Sadly, I love this so much, and I've kind of mishandled this paperback. I've cracked the spine, which I haven't done in over a year, and I feel sad about it, but man, I love this book. Do not let the cover scare you away. This is Sig, one of our POVs. This takes place in the Nissi Archipelago. I will be doing a dedicated video review for this, so if you want to learn more about Nomads of the Sea, just stay tuned, guys. Just stay tuned. All right, and then lastly, we've got Salem's Lot by Stephen King. Now, I mentioned I had to read that one. It's kind of heavy, so I'm going to put it down. I had to read that one in order to read Woods of the Call because there is a carryover character. I've been scared of this book for years. For some reason, Dracula and vampires still, like, from my childhood, I was very scared. And that's kind of carried over into adulthood. Even though none of that bothers me anymore, I've still got this kind of conception in my mind, or misconception, I should say, that I should be scared of those things. And so I've been putting this one off for years. Reading The Dark Tower finally gave me the push to read Salem's Lot. And it was just, whew, it was fun. It was good. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, but it felt more like a thriller to me almost. But man, like I don't have a bad thing to say about Salem's Lot. It was great. It was so good. So a couple other housekeeping things here. I've got a new series coming next month, or I guess at the time of seeing this, this following month. It's going to be the Indie Spotlight. And essentially, I only do 4 book reviews a month, or 5 if there's a 5th week that I can fit one into the month. And so I'm going to be starting this series called the Indie Spotlight, where basically all the self-pub that I gave 4 stars and above to, I'm going to just sit down and start talking about these books to you guys. If that sounds something that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, since we're talking about the comments, let me know how your reading month went. And we've crossed the 2,000 subscriber kind of mark, milestone, what have you. I have already, to the community tab, posted the winner of the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I've also commented on that individual in the video where it was announced, so they are aware. Please get in touch with me so that, best way so that I can get you your books. The best way to do this is either in the Discord or on Twitter, or if not, we can figure out something else. And yeah, guys. One final thing. I swear, and then I'll stop talking. I did a DNF redemption a couple months ago, and Shadows of the Apt won, and that was the Scared Path book 5. I kind of went mood reading on this and did a different DNF instead, which was Orconomics by J. Zachary Pike, and I ended up loving it. I gave it, I think, like a 4.5 out of 5, mainly because just it's got a weird structural tone there. I do want to do a dedicated video review for Orconomics. My question to you is, do you want another DNF redemption video, or do you want me to read The Scared Path first, since I've already revisited the DNF? Does that count? I'm just looking for a little bit of feedback. That said, guys, that's all I've really got here for you. So make sure you're liking and subscribing, commenting down below whatever your thoughts on this video are. If you want to support me, you can go ahead and sign up for the Patreon to get kind of some exclusive content, giveaways, things of that nature. And as always, guys, till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.